Welcome one, welcome all to episode 287 of the Xbox Expansion Pass, recorded on Saturday, August 23rd, 2025. I'm your host, Luke Lohr, the Insipid Ghost, as always joined by my co-host, the Intrepid Captain Logun. Today we'll be discussing the now revealed release date for the ROG Xbox Ally. We'll be offering a quick roundup of news from Gamescom, including word of Hollow Knight Silksong and its release date. PlayStation has raised its prices as mounting costs of gaming continue to hurt the console market. All that and more. Logan, we like to start the show by offering words of kindness, those who have made our gaming weeks better. But first, how are you, my friend?
I am currently in the throes of getting everything like worked out for my move. I'm like 5 days away from actually leaving. And I'm realizing that like kitchen stuff, bathroom stuff, computer, and at least one TV are like the necessities when living. Like you just can't. It's just not. There's nothing to do if you don't have those things. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like patiently waiting, looking at like the other little things that I can pack before this move. So that's kind of what's been going on in my life. I've been playing a little bit of games, but really it's been packing simulator in real life.
Yeah, no, that's cool, man. Yeah, you've got a big life change coming up, man. I empathize with you having been there. I'm sure every listener that has gone through a move understands what you are going through for sure. Good to see X Bacon Gaming in the chat. Yeah, sorry we were late. We had a little StreamYard. We had to reconnect. Sometimes it needs that. Nissa Hauer says they will be lurking. Good to see you, Nissa. And of course, our buddy Clutch Klondo is hanging out with us as well. We've also got a super chat goal of 5 super chats for the episodes. If you're able to help support the show, we would appreciate you guys as well. Logan, I have words of kindness this week. I've had a crazy week myself. We had 3 open house events at the school, so I got to meet the students in 3 events versus like 1 crammed in, which was good. And I had a little bit of gaming time, not a ton this week, but in doing that, my buddy Herman, he was struggling. He just wasn't feeling it. You ever know when you're like playing games with people, you each have roles, healer, DPS, tank, and whatnot, and he was just beating himself up because he wasn't playing as well as he wanted, and it was bothering him, and so I wanted to give him a shout out. He played great. Nice. I wanted to send him some good vibes because he was just overly beating himself up, and I was like, "No, man, you played great." So
very cool. Yeah. You want to spend the time. That's why I have a hard time in Sea of Thieves with syncing and stuff, is because you want to play your best. You want to like make sure that you win for folks and stuff, and when you don't, you're like, "Oh, I'm sorry. It's just not going right today."
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have those, and hopefully you just, it just slides off your back and you don't think about it.
The more busy you get, the less gaming time you have, the more precious those moments are to be spent enjoying it.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that a lot of people feel as they start aging up or as their time does get pressed. And when you're in a team game like Marvel Rivals or Fortnite or Warzone or whatever it might be, and you feel like you're letting your team down, it can be an unnecessary pressure onto themselves. So I just wanted to give them a shout out because no need to be stressing that. Good to see Gentle Stone in chat. How are you, bud? So yeah, that's my words of kindness are to Herman. How about you, man? Who you want to shout out this week?
I want to shout out Toxic Grog, who's a friend of mine, and they've been doing some sailing with a chick on Sea of Thieves for streams and whatnot. She's been killing it. She's getting closer and closer to being able to apply for Twitch partner. Cool. And it's one of those things where like I have kind of like just told everyone like I'm not going to be able to play. Like I've just got a lot going on, and when I'm not actively working on the move, I'm trying to like catch up on sleep. So shout out to them last night who like got a chick and them to convince me to jump onto Repo for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because Repo's fun and it's short enough to where it's like I can justify an hour or so and get a couple games worth in and feel like I've actually like, managed to jump on something. So that's been really fun. I never played Repo beforehand, but I can see why people like that game. It's weird and wacky enough that It's entertaining to have stuff happen, but you can also totally just get completely carried in that game.
Yeah,
People,
that's
so
cool.
it's fun.
That's cool, man. Nothing wrong with that. I have not played Repo myself. So, Nissa Hauer asks if we can give a shout out to our friends at the Nerd Chat because they are 56 subs away until Dan has to eat 8 Junior Bacon cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
I'll shout out Nerd Chat because they're one of my weekly podcasts that I thoroughly enjoy. I never understood the Junior Bacon cheeseburger thing, of they have to eat X amount. But hey, rock on, guys. I do love them. I was talking to Bubble Boy just this morning, oddly enough, and I thoroughly appreciate their work every week because they're just guys enjoying video games, and that's great.
Yeah.
So yes, I will shout out the Nerd Chat. Great podcast, a good time, and I love trolling Dan because he yells about everything, and I just like pointing that out to him. It's fun for me. Clutch Quando says 8. Yeah. 8. Gentle Stone says gaming is the stress relief the doctor ordered. Absolutely. In therapy this morning, I learned about the difference between distress and eustress. Eustress, EUSTRESS, is an actual thing. It's like healthy pressures that we put on ourselves. I was learning about that this morning, so that was interesting. Let's see. X Bacon Gaming says, anyone see Sony is making PC peripherals now? What does that mean? Save that question for us if you don't mind. Let's star that one. We'll come back to that one for sure. But yeah. All right, man. Well, we've had a big week. A lot of stuff happening, Logan. A lot of stuff happening. You have in our notes that we should be up. We can't even start right now because the amazing Tao Zochi dropped a $10 super chat supporting us. Logan was right on Grounded 2 when Luke was a doubter. Also, finally, Silksong. If you want an easier per se roguelite, check out Rogue Prince of Persia. Have a good day. Going to bed. Tao Zochi, thank you for your super chat and supporting the show. We appreciate you. Logan, you were vindicated with Grounded 2, were you not?
I mean, I believed in what I had played with Grounded 1, and Grounded 1 is a fantastic game. So yeah, I do feel that way.
I think you should, because I was a doubter. Tao's absolutely correct. I was a doubter about Grounded 2, and I put 40 some odd hours into that game, 40 plus, and I'm ready for more. I know they dropped some news this past week or two. They've got more on the way, content-wise, a tarantula boss and stuff like that. I'm going to sit on it for just a little bit and play some of the other stuff that's coming out. Well, not much that's coming out, which I'll explain why in a bit. But I'm excited for more Grounded 2. I'm just waiting a bit till there's a good bit more, you know? But yeah, it's so good. So good. And I've not played Rogue Prince of Persia. Have you?
No, I haven't. Sorry, I got a quick phone call from a delivery from there.
You're good. You talk to them. I'll start with our news this week. So yeah, the Rogue Prince of Persia did drop into Game Pass this past week. A lot of people really loving it and saying good things about it. I will say I've not played that game. The art style actually put me off, but I like a good roguelike, and so maybe it's something I'll check out. It is not one that I would go to right away, but I am interested in seeing people kind of consume it because good games like that deserve more attention. And in the Metroidvania space, those 2D side scroller ones, whether it's the Dead Cell Rogue style games to the Tales of Kenzera Zao, they need more attention, and I want them to get that attention. So hopefully this helps that game. We did get news this past week of the Xbox Ally, and that I think was heading up a lot of different headlines across different websites, different news coverage outlets, because the Xbox Ally, we now know the release date for a worldwide release date and in a number of different countries will be October 16th. What we do not know, confirmed from Xbox themselves, is the price point. There were some leaked price points from places like Best Buy that put the Xbox Ally X around $900, but that is not confirmed. And that is due, according to Xbox's Jason Ronald, to macro market conditions, which you can interpret to be, without trying
Tariffs.
to be, overly political, tariffs. We've seen a number of different things happen as a result of tariffs in the gaming and technology space. I'm going to read Jason Ronald's comments, followed by an Asus senior vice president's comments, and then I'll let you guys interpret. We'll break that down. But the October 16th release date is what we know. Pricing, we do not know. Jason Ronald says, quote, "This is always a challenge in regards to pricing. And you'll always try to find the right balance between affordability and price point. And I think especially in a mobile form factor that also adds in dimensions such as battery life as well. And then, as you said, the macroeconomic climate is challenging," end quote. This follows up comments from Asus Senior Vice President Sean Yen, who was speaking to IGN in an interview. He says, quote, "I think we need more time to figure out the macro impact to pricing, and that's why we'll be sharing more later in September and October," end quote. Now, this is very frustrating, I can imagine, for both Asus and Xbox, because they have this really impressive piece of hardware that is getting rave reviews from hands-on impressions from a number of different outlets that are both Xbox specific and technology generic. All of these people are saying that the ROG Xbox Ally X, I should be clear, is a very good piece of tech, but that pricing is very difficult due in large part to, quote, macroeconomic conditions, end quote. What they're really saying here is that due to the Trump administration's tariff pricing, it's very difficult to figure out what the technology pricing should be, because they have an MSRP, but the tariffs tax on a number of different cost elements, and they are passing that on to consumers, despite what the Trump administration has said, where it will be on the other countries and on the manufacturers. No, that's passed on to consumers. This is added to and supported by the rise of the PlayStation's hardware cost. Sony just came out and rose the cost of the PlayStation 5, with the PlayStation 5 standard unit going up to $550, the PlayStation 5 digital unit going up to $500, and the PS5 Pro now an astounding $750. Technology is going up. Costs and economics are really hitting hard. This is a lot. Logan, what you got for me, my friend?
I'm excited for all the reporting that's coming out about the Xbox Ally. I think that there's a lot of people that are genuinely kind of like impressed with how this is sitting. One of the things that I think was interesting was I think it was Tom Warren had posted a video of the boot up for Windows 11 on the Xbox Ally X, and Jampack Sam had made some interesting comments about how kind of janky or say kind of weird where it is to try and like get into the system. Whereas I think with it, like kind of the promise of the Xbox Ally that we've seen is that this should be as close to a console experience as possible. Mm-hmm. With the whole cost of it still kind of in question, it really does kind of like say, hey, this is going to be kind of make or break in my mind. This is obviously something that I think is going to be kind of what's the enthusiast hardware. Like I don't really see this being like the mainstay for a lot of consumers, especially given how, you know, Xbox is currently in third place as far as like hardware sales go. Mm-hmm. And with the rising costs of like the PlayStation Pro and their systems just like all being bumped up about $50, taking a look at how the landscape of pricing is, it's clear that they are wary of how fickle the current like US administration is mm-hmm. when it comes to tariffs. Mm-hmm. And that it seems like just about any day it could change, you know, positive or negative, and mm-hmm. a lot of companies aren't sure how to manage that additional cost. In my mind, that should just be something that's eaten, you know, like fluctuations in pricing when it comes to manufacture. That should be just something that a $1 billion company should be able to eat the cost on that. Let consumers have the price point that they expect, mm-hmm. because otherwise you're going to do what's happening now, and people are going to stop buying hardware because it seems like more and more, if costs of hardware go up, the recourse is to not buy hardware. So how do you manage that? Well, Microsoft is already kind of in position with that with streaming. You know, mm-hmm. you just start offering your games via stream. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter what the hardware is. You just have to have the servers to be able to support it. And we've heard rumor that they are, you know, revamping their server racks for better support for Xbox Game Cloud. But I mean, I hope that the Xbox Ally and the Ally X do well for Xbox, because I would like to see what a first party solution would look like for that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be an interesting time. It's going to be interesting to kind of see like how this goes. They really ought to, by at this point, have a price locked in regardless of whatever the macroeconomics of the world are going to be, and just know that sometimes you're going to sell hardware that has very little margin. Sometimes you sell hardware that doesn't have margins,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes you don't get to choose like how macroeconomics plays out, and you have to do something for the actual consumer. Because if they release these and say, we'll just say like, for example, the Ally, we'll say that's like what, $600. If things change in the world, it's not like they can just go out and be like, all right, well, today it was 600, tomorrow it's going to have to go up to 750. And then if things get better in 2 weeks, we'll bring it back down to 600. It's like, that's not possible. So just make the price point that you think players or people were actually going to pay for, and then figure out the cost savings or cost adjustments on the back end, and let people have like some certainty in there.
I understand the logic, but it feels to me like you're thinking like a consumer, and these companies will not do that. They're thinking,
I don't care.
And that's fine. But
know?
Of course, I'm with you. I understand your logic, but
Yeah.
I just don't see that happening given the current climate. And there is a consistent push and pull when it comes to the American economy and the Trump administration for what they're trying to do with technology.
Yeah.
So I think it's very audacious to think that anybody would presume that the companies trying to make money are not going to pass that expense on to the consumers, because they've built in places that where you can get their games. You can buy their games on PlayStation. You can buy them on PC. You can buy them on xCloud. You can buy them on Xbox. Mm-hmm. They've got all these people. They're not trying to move hardware in the same way that they once were. So they're going to pass it on to the consumer. Centurion says in chat that $900 for the Xbox Ally X is ridiculous. Well, is it ridiculous for the technology they're offering? No. Is it ridiculous for a console entry point? Absolutely. But then you look over at Sony and their PlayStation 5 Pro, $750. These consoles were cheaper at launch than they are now. That is just so twisted and a full 180 from what has been the precedent of the console market in general, that it is astounding. But we've seen multiple console manufacturers raise their prices. I think a Switch 2 price increase is not far off at this point. They're going to pass these tariffs off on the consumer. The rising cost of technology is just going up. That means that at a certain point, people will stop buying, though. And this, Logan, I think this is speaking to your point. At a certain point, people are going to be priced out of gaming, mm-hmm. and then these companies will have to react. And in a uniquely technological approach, those companies will put pressure on administrations, no matter who is in charge, to adjust their policies. They're like, hey, we're not selling as much. And that is how they will push that forward. Yeah. But there will be a line in the sand for a lot of people. I cannot spend X or Y. I have my own line in the sand. I had planned to get this Ally X. I knew it was going to be expensive. My life has changed in the past few weeks, which we've talked about in previous episodes. I'm now not going to do that, because I can right now. I'm like, all right, I bought Helldivers. I pre-ordered that one.
Nice. I
don't anticipate having the finances to get Battlefield, Borderlands, and there was one other one that I like really wanted. Maybe it was Silent Hill F. There's one other one that I really wanted this fall. It's just not going to happen. It's just not. There's just not. The games are too expensive now. But I do have an incredible backlog. I do have Game Pass. My gaming will still exist. It's just not going to be buying the new, latest, and greatest. And I think that is what's going to happen to a lot of people. That's what's going to happen to a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a shame, because looking at this hardware, you would want Xbox to have the best opportunity to be able to sell this hardware as an option. Maybe them pricing it at what it is effectively is them kind of understanding like this is going to be an enthusiast market. They know that the people that want it are going to spend the money on it. Mm-hmm. They'll figure it out. But from a consumer's perspective, which I try to keep because, I have no love for companies. They aren't doing me any favors. So
Mm-hmm.
I have to look out for the people that are actually going to be spending the money on this,
Mm-hmm.
which is why I'm thinking like they just need to lock this in. I don't care what they have to do. That's not my job. That's the CEO's job to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
It's where if this is going to be the pricing the fear is that if you buy an Xbox Ally X at $900 at launch and you decide to wait on that thinking that the price is going to go down,
Mm-hmm.
right now the current trend is not showing that is going to be the case. So now there's a FOMO kind of setting in the back of your mind. It's like, well, if I don't buy it at launch, is it just going to get even more expensive as I go? Is the best deal really the one that's going to be at the beginning of the lifespan of the system?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like there's pressure on both sides of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate that. I hate that that's the thing that's kind of pushing this away, because if it doesn't work out with the Ally, then what's Xbox going to do? Are they going to shutter the internal project, the first party hard or handheld completely? Or are they going to try and figure out a way to try and get a less powerful version of the hardware from another manufacturer to try and like get a lower entry point? People just don't have money to be able to buy these kind of things right now.
I think when it comes to Xbox making hardware themselves, they have to have something in order to set a standard, like a minimum spec type approach.
Yeah.
I think first, but eventually they will not need to have their own hardware and they'll just adopt the PC approach. Our friends at the Nerd Chat often talk about Play Anywhere becoming the standard. Yeah. I mean, that is going to be the thing that happens going forward. But people don't want to lose their ecosystem. I am interested to see how this thing sells because I have 2 Switch ones and a Series S that I could trade in towards it. I don't think that'll cover the cost, right? No matter what the deal. I have that to kind of offset anything if I'm ready, but this is the ROG Xbox Ally X because I would get the better of the two.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens when it's not Asus making this? When it's another manufacturer? What about the Xbox they make? Because we're talking about Windows 11 devices that allow you to access your Xbox library. What happens when they make a better one next year and it's $910? Do I spend the extra 10, the extra 50, the extra 100? Or what if they make one that's less, but it's pretty overall equal? Does that help drive costs down? It'll be really interesting because we don't have precedent for this. We just don't have precedent for this. The problem with PlayStation trouncing Xbox in console sales is there's no competition. And without that competition, you don't get the combative nature. I sometimes wonder, this is tangential and not necessarily relevant, it's just an interesting thought experiment. Had the FTC not fought Xbox on the Activision thing, and it hadn't been a long dragged out thing, and Xbox could have chosen to have an exclusivity or not had to, they could have made Call of Duty more exclusive, or if they'd wanted to do that, could they have driven their own console sales up or not if they hadn't had to fight all that legality?
Yeah.
And probably yes, but would it have? Would it? The thought experiment is actually, would that have helped keep costs down or not? Because how do you anticipate an administration that goes back and forth on tariff pricing and such? So that's the thought experiment for anybody that wants to go meta thought about it, which is just, I don't know,
I don't think it would impact the cost of consoles, because I think we've seen with the PlayStation that no one's immune to the tariffs. And everyone has to bump up their costs, whether they want to look like the good guys and not do it for 6 months after everyone else bit the bullet and got ahead of it, or if it's just one company dominating right now. For a very long time, I would argue that the PlayStation 5 is doing so well because of their exclusives, and had the FTC like looked at what was going on and been like, all right, well, you're the third in line for consoles as far as like, rankings go. Some exclusivity probably would do you well. Had they had Call of Duty only on Xbox, it would have grown studios to have competitors that would succeed, because there would be pure options on PlayStation. So studios would have competed. There would have been probably marketing deals with Sony for Battlefield to try and like leverage having something strong in that space. Since Call of Duty would no longer be available on PlayStation, they'd be looking for a fill, and a lot more people would probably push towards other games like I'm trying to think, like Fortnite, PUBG,
Any live service.
Yeah, other live service like shooters. Like I keep thinking there's one that I can't quite remember the name of, but it's free to play and it's coming to consoles soon. That was announced at Gamescom. That's been on PC for a hot minute, and I constantly have wanted to go check it out, but I just can't remember what the name of it is at the moment.
That's okay.
But stuff like that is stuff that we will probably see. And it's one of
Clutch One just saying exclusives are not selling consoles in the majority, and no longer. You're absolutely right.
Right now, though, that's the problem. Is
about Xbox or PlayStation?
Both.
False. And this is where you have to check. Xbox had several exclusives, South of Midnight and Avowed being the most recent. Are they moving a needle? And like, you can't dismiss them in an argument of exclusives because they had them. They are first party exclusive games.
Yeah.
But when you're also putting Doom and Call of Duty and all your other stuff over onto PlayStation, Gears of War next week, 3 days from now, right?
Yeah. Those aren't exclusives anymore.
They're not. And that's just why to me it's a thought experiment. I don't want to spend too much time down that rabbit hole. It's just a fascinating think back because you look at how expensive things are getting.
Well, okay. So let's look at Indiana Jones. Let's look at Forza Horizon 5. They're exclusives that were exclusives, and they weren't moving units as much. But to say that they aren't moving units is a misnomer, because we don't actually know what games impacted console sales, because they don't actually report console sales based on when games come out, right? So we can't say like nobody bought an Xbox for Indiana Jones, because we genuinely have no data to back that up. We have no data to prove that it is the case either. So we just have to assume that consoles are being sold. Reasons are probably because of games that they have. And it's fair to assume that some exclusives are probably going to be something that's actually driving those sales. Same thing with Sony. We don't know if Helldivers drove PlayStation 5 sales. There's a good chance, but we don't know. But Sony really hasn't had too many exclusives this generation. I mean, you can look at Returnal, you can look at Stellar Blade, you can look at Final Fantasy VII, you can look at Helldivers up until recently. But they really haven't had like major games.
I apologize for cutting you off, but I did want to. The only data indicator I think that you can get immediately on what you're talking about, because you're right, you don't know people's personal motivations as a data point, except when a game is released and you see console sales spike. That's the only way, and we don't get to see those numbers per se. Yeah,
we don't get console sales spikes on there. We can see player counts on like Steam. We can see sales figures for games, but we don't know if people own those or if they're streaming them or they're using an old console. Like we just don't have that kind of data. So to say that, exclusives don't sell consoles, we don't know that for sure.
We don't know for sure, but it is what drove the PS4 and the PlayStation ecosystem to so many people.
Yes.
So we don't have data to full on say yes, but I think it's more than an assumption. It's an educated inference, I would argue.
Yeah, and to my point, it's not that exclusives haven't sold consoles this generation. It's that this generation has been the weakest for exclusives on both sides.
Yes,
and I think that speaks more to the console sales, because at that point, what are you going to do? Well, you sold millions, 175 million PS4s. Chances are you're going to have some built-in generational, like a movement towards the PlayStation 5. Like a good chunk of people are just going to take the library they have and get the better hardware for it, right? So it was Sony doing better than Xbox. I think that speaks more to the expectation of games like Spider-Man and Wolverine and the next God of War as like those tentpole exclusives that are coming. and just having better gameplay experience with the games that they have, right? That was the promise of the PS5 Pro. That kind of mentality is the one that I'm looking at when I'm looking at like, well, why is Sony doing better than Xbox this generation? It's like, well, Xbox didn't get Call of Duty to be exclusive. Any of the Bethesda games aren't exclusive except for the one that was supposed to be the biggest one and ended up being not that great. The one that Sony was the most worried about was Starfield. Didn't even, we haven't even really had like a whole lot of like zeitgeist around that beyond the initial launch of the game, even after they came out with an expansion. So I would love to see a world where Xbox had actually won the acquisition without caveats, built in a strong set of exclusives, and had more competition with Sony than Sony would have ever have imagined, and seen what that world would have looked like.
Yeah, it would have. The one of the things that Anubis noted in our Discord this morning was that there's no more major announcements until the Game Awards. And you mentioned Starfield. My prediction is that we see Starfield at the Game Awards with a PlayStation announcement and a new expansion. That's where I think you see Starfield make its return to mainstream.
Yeah.
And I hope it's good because I love Starfield, but that is a flawed experience. Even playing Avowed, I was like, goodness, Starfield's combat is bad.
That's why I'm looking forward to Outer Worlds too, man.
How can you not? It looks good.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move into some of the news coming out of the Gamescom week. I'll briefly mention Hollow Knight Silksong finally got its release date. That wasn't technically Gamescom, but it is important to a lot of people. That release date will be September 4th. So right around the corner from Team Cherry, they put a trailer up. Yeah. It looks like more Hollow Knight. I think that's great. Hollow Knight's a great video game. I hope they addressed a lot of the concerns that show up from my experience in the first one, in that it wasn't very good at guiding you on where to go, what to do. A lot of people needed guides to even tackle that one. And I felt like Ori was an overall better combat traversal Metroidvania experience. Team Cherry, though, fantastic. Hollow Knight, fantastic. I think the expectations on Silksong are likely very high, and I hope that Team Cherry is satisfied with the reception and that consumers enjoy it. But it's right around the corner. So, rock on to those who are excited for it.
Who knew? I didn't think it was actually a game.
Just tangentially, it was interesting to see that it wasn't part of the Xbox thing, even though that was on their ROG Ally splash screen at one point. It wasn't part of a Nintendo Direct. It's just doing its own thing. And it remains to be seen how it's received and how it sells, but I think it'll do well. So,
it's going to sell tons, but the issue is whether or not it actually lives up to the hype.
Right.
Is Silksong going to be everything that the Hollow Knight fans wanted out of it, or has it been so long that they're happy with it internally, but much like Sea of Thieves, they can be happy internally, but by the time it actually gets out to consumers, people are just like, this is not it, fam.
Right.
So I think that the story behind it's really interesting. I think the lead up to them actually getting the release was... Unfortunately, I feel like they've kind of given themselves too much leash, and I'm hoping that they don't choke themselves on it, because it's something that I think a lot of folks are happy about. But for all intents and purposes, it looks like it's going to be a good game. It looks like they've put a lot of love into it, and games like this and Expedition 33 hopefully are kind of lifted up amongst all of the other indies and titles out there. Just by having the opportunity to be shown off a couple times by big console manufacturers, and then given the breath to actually like let the gameplay speak for itself.
Right. No, it's well said. You mentioned Expedition 33. Someone in our Discord also asked us to remind everybody that the Steelbook is coming for that one. That's pretty cool. So rock on.
I love Steelbooks. I never collected them, but I love the premise of them, because it's a nice way to kind of like, what's it called? Not celebrate, but I don't know, kind of immortalize the game.
Yeah, absolutely. In a world where physical media is dead, it's nice to see that part carrying on. I have a few Steelbooks that I just love and adore for games that I love that people don't, but it's a nice little memory. So that's awesome.
Yep.
I do want to also just quickly mention with Helldivers 2 having Xbox content and it releasing this week as well, I make a prediction that it's going to sell 2 million by November, I think is what I said in the nerd chat.
Oh yeah.
I just, for curiosity's sake, do you think we'll see like a sales figure? How much do you think it sells on Xbox?
I don't know, man. I'm always bad about this. So I genuinely like can't gauge it, because when, Grounded 2 came out and they're up to 3 million players, I'm like, that's awesome. I would have never guessed that. I would have been happy with 1 million in the first couple of weeks. So it's always one of those things. Like I'm terrible about figuring out this kind of thing. 2 million by November seems like a pretty safe bet. Given the number of Xbox consoles out there, the number of players out there. I think if I were to give if I were to give a prediction, I would probably say it would sell. I'm hoping for 2 million by the end of September.
I hope so too. I think it'll be interesting to watch the Xbox community ingest Helldivers. Like, how are you taking this PlayStation product? How are you taking the Halo content with it? And because it's not part of a Game Pass subscription service, how does it play out? It's already been available on PC. It's already been available on PlayStation. This is strictly Xbox. So, does the Xbox consumer base purchase games, or do they allow them, or do they strictly enjoy them?
Oh no, I think they do.
Right? So do I. But that is the narrative in which Helldivers is positioned to combat. So that's what I'm fascinated to watch. I did pre-order this one. I chose to pre-order Helldivers 2. I do own it on PlayStation, but I wanted to tackle this one on Xbox. I wanted to support it in this place. And this is, like I said, this is the last game I'm going to buy until I'm not sure. Right. Just because we're not soliciting game codes right now, because we just don't have the bandwidth to cover them. Maybe once you're settled, we'll see. But we just won't have it. So it's like, this is it for me. I'm going to play this in my live service games, and we'll see what happens. So yeah, we'll check it out. I do want to talk Gamescom stuff, but briefly, we saw that BioShock's team was largely let go. So Jason Schreier reporting, and because we mentioned Rod Ferguson did take over to help get BioShock to release. I just think that's worth mentioning. I don't think we need to overly talk about it, but it is interesting.
Yeah, Rod moving over, it's clear like he is kind of the person that can come in and kind of a golden path a project to launch. It's nice to hear that they're doing that for BioShock. It sucks that they laid off so many people though. But man, if you're trying to save a project and you got to lay off a bunch of people to get that game out, that's a terrible thing. Consumers probably not going to know about it or know that it's going on, and hopefully they get a good game as a result, and that can at least give them enough revenue from that game to be able to greenlight the next one and hire back some of those people, hopefully. But I mean, it really does.
Let me push back because we consistently discuss not wanting to see people lose their jobs. Yeah. The asterisk in my mind is that unless you're not getting the job done, and that's where you have to be, where I think as consumers, as podcasters, as enthusiasts, press, and as press, everybody has a responsibility to be a little bit careful in that, because if you're not getting the job done, you do need to go in a world where you have to have a product to sell to keep jobs. The problem with that is that, and I'll cite Halo Infinite, if it's a managerial issue, then like that's not the developer per se's problem, it's the management's problem, and it's the leadership. But the whole point of a CEO is to take the fall for the company. That's why you have golden parachutes. They take the fall, say they're listening, and then people just move on. So that's where it's like, all right, well, BioShock's been in development for how long, and they're not getting it done. Something has to change. The question being, is it leadership, or is it the developers not doing a good job? And it could be both, could be either, could be something else. In BioShock's unique case, we don't have a product on which to judge, right? Yeah. And it's been 10 years. Gotta go.
I consistently feel like if you're not doing your job, it's individuals that get let go. If management's not doing their jobs, It's called layoffs. And that's
okay.
It's one of those things, like if somebody's not doing their job, if a couple team members in the company are not doing well, they're constantly late, or their performance isn't meeting standards, like there are generally review cycles where they're given opportunities to kind of adjust that and like do better. Those people usually let go. It's not like, oh, there's three quarters of two teams that all are just happen to be underperforming right now, and we're going to lay them all off. It's like, that's a management issue. That shouldn't be one of those things where those teams get let go because they decided to cut off the bottom percentile of the in the longer running devs. That was a failure on management, not having better timelines or better scope to be able to get the game produced. They are the ones that should have been let go, not the layoffs, because their income probably would keep most of those people on if they were let go and they actually brought someone in who was good at being able to do that. And that's what ROD is. ROD is good at being able to get games shipped. So laying off a bunch of the studio says to me that the person in charge of that game is actually the person that should have been let go, not the however many bodies that were working on the game for years because management wasn't doing their job.
Yeah. It's well said. It's well articulated, Logan. Very well articulated. All right. Proper Gamescom announcements here. Gamescom did happen this past week. I did not see a ton of fanfare despite a lot of games being shown. The first of which, or at least the most relevant to me, but it also seems like it's relevant to a lot of people, which happy surprise on my end. Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight. This trailer seemed to catch people off guard. This is a TT developed Lego game. So think Skywalker Saga, which is very well received and very good, guys. Very good. But this is a Batman game that seems to incorporate Batman storylines from all the famous films, from all the famous comics, because you even see Red Hood 1 in the trailer. It even has gameplay elements reminiscent of Arkham. This is an open world Batman game, but it's Lego. And it's really, to me, confusing to look at because as a diehard Arkham fan, I'm ready for that remaster. I'm ready for that Gears of War Reloaded style remaster. It's okay. Just up-res it and let's go. Give me the achievement list again. But then to see this in Lego form, which is traditionally, like, we've had a lot of Lego Batmans, Lego supervillains, like we've done this dance, but it's done in the Skywalker Saga style where it's more of a complete game that that an adult could play and really get a lot out of. And then you see the trailer and you've got the Batman with Robert Pattinson's Penguin and Batman scene. And then you've got Batman 1989. And then you've got all these different versions. I thought it looked really good. And I'm really confused as to who it's for, but I'm day one on it. Yes, I'm day one because it's Batman. I'm day one because it looks good. I'm really excited for this project, and I'm really interested to see how it's received. But in my mind, to follow the socials, it looks like a lot of people are very hot on it. Even my buddy Ainsley Bowden said he's like, that game looks great. I'm like, what? Really? All right, man. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I have the problem of getting trapped in the collector mentality when it comes to the Lego games, which often is the thing that it really ruins games for me with Lego. Like I played through quite a bit of Star Wars, Skywalker Saga to like get through good portions of it. And the reason I put it down was because I was tired of collecting studs. And funny enough, had this been a Lego game and there were no studs to collect and it was purely just an action adventure in the theme, in the style of Batman, I probably would have a lot more interest in it. But because it's that whole, like, you got to rebuild stuff in the Lego fashion, you got to like break down stuff to collect studs, I start to have trouble wanting to engage with it because I get so tired of that type of gameplay. But looking at this, I think they're doing an excellent job. They've obviously got the history with Batman. I like that they're bringing in the amount of Batman there is. The thing that surprises me the most, though, are the difficulty modes. The fact that they're bringing in stuff like a Dark Knight mode to be able to make this game actually like a bit more difficult. I think that will be the thing that will kind of bring fans of Batman from the Asylum saga and actually like give them something to be interested in and feel like they can engage with, where it's not like, oh, it's just a Lego game, like it's not really going to be that hard. It's like them having difficulty modes is kind of speaking directly to that, in the way that I think like Dark Souls games that people make, where they're like, oh yeah, we're going to have like an easier mode. It's like, hey, we know that there is a market for people who want to jump into this, but the difficulty aspect, whether it's too easy or too hard, is such that it doesn't get people interested in actually like playing it, because it's not difficult enough or it's not easy enough for them to be able to jump into. So I'm actually excited to see what people who do like games that are like in games where you want to play something that's a little bit harder or a little more challenging. I want to know how hard some of these modes are that they're putting in, to see like, are people being like, yeah, this is awesome. Definitely play it on Dark Knight because the challenge is worth it.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good, and I'm interested to see just how much fanfare and love there is in there, because for Arkham, which is now Arkham Knight, the most recent Arkham game, it's mainstay Arkham game, not VR nor live service. That's 10 plus years old now, but you got a lot of fan service in that game, so it'll be interesting. Big shout out to Clutch Kwando. He is coming in with a $5 super chat, helping us get to our goal of 5 super chats for this episode. Thank you. Says, y'all getting those Windows XP Crocs? No.
You guys are lucky I still have the Crocs that I do.
You better not get rid of them, man. We might need those next year.
No, I don't know about that.
We might need those next year, Logan.
I don't know.
My Batman Crocs, I don't know where they are. They're downstairs somewhere, I think. So, yeah, can't do it, man. Can't do it. Oof. I saw a funny article, and then I want to get back on track. Gen Z was complaining about like fashion trends, and somebody commented, Gen Z wears Crocs unironically. They don't get to critique any fashion trends. That was a good response.
Yeah.
All right. A lot of announcements coming out of Gamescom. We're not going to go through every single game, but you did put some in our notes that are worth noting. To me, the one that stands out outside of Lego Batman was Call of Duty Black Ops 7 got its first gameplay. The trailer largely being downvoted, and a lot of Battlefield people showing up. And I'm really interested to see how people approach this Call of Duty experience, because Black Ops 6, we talked about post-launch support. Our community seems to think it was very well supported. I talked to a journalist or two and said they didn't think it was. This trailer not getting the love per se that a lot of people would have had. The counterpoint being it's showing some really cool things. 4-player co-op campaign that has an end game mode that you can unlock once you beat the campaign. They are having round-based zombies. Their multiplayer looks to be very thorough. I'm curious to see how we do, because I know my friend group, we're in Battlefield. We've chosen Battlefield to be our military shooter here. I've also heard, and I'll let you jump in a second. I've also heard that people are saying, well, Battlefield's a more pure experience and won't have all those crazy skins, but people buy those skins and it brings in money. So people like them, right? People are spending money that we don't have a ton of, as we talked about earlier, to get those skins. Would they sell an option to turn that off so you can't see those skins? I don't know. But I'm fascinated to see how people intake Black Ops 7. I'm probably not going to play Black Ops 7. I think I'm going Battlefield. That's where I'm going. What do you think?
Yeah. Dude, looking at the campaign trailer, I was excited. Honestly, like the campaign for Black Ops 6 was amazing. Some of the horror vibes that they have that tie into zombies and the creation of zombies was really unique, and in a way that felt like it felt like a horror game, and playing through it it felt like a Resident Evil. So seeing them kind of lean more into that concepts, bridging off of Black Ops 6 and what the kind of what's it called, the story points that they had in Black Ops 6 and kind of leapfrogging into the future in 2035. I'm not surprised people are sick of Call of Duty. They're looking for a new entry. It's always that countercultural thing that happens when people are like, I'm tired of this thing, I want something fresh, and then something fresh comes along, they're like, yeah, we hate Call of Duty, Call of Duty sucks. We saw that
Or
with
they buy it every year.
yeah, we saw that with what was dude at SGF with the hat, his game, the
Oh,
Portal.
I know what you're talking about.
What was
Splitgate 2.
yeah.
Make
We saw
FPS
that
great
with
again was
too.
his thing.
Yeah, we saw that with there. Like, people want to champion something that's not mainstream. That's how our brains work. Like, we don't want to do that. But looking at the campaign, finding out that it's 4-player co-op campaign, I'm excited for this, because I will happily sit down and play through the campaign. I think that they are doing a really good job with the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of the reasons why I had such a hard time getting the review out in a reasonable amount of time last year, as I was playing so much multiplayer and campaign.
You were into that game, man. You loved Black Ops 6.
It was worth it, dude. It was absolutely worth it. And I know you agreed with me at the time too. So
Black Ops was never my jam, but I love Call of Duty, and Modern Warfare 2 and 3 were my jam. Like, I prefer Modern Warfare, but like, you cannot deny the value proposition that comes with Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
So much quality gameplay in it. That package is just good. I think this year, to go back to your point of mainstream, like Bucky mainstream, my friend group's really excited for Battlefield. I really enjoyed both betas. It's very intense. We said this before. In Battlefield, you're you're a cog in the machine. In Call of Duty, you're the main character.
Yeah.
It's just a different experience, but I think it's just, we like competition.
Mm-hmm.
So
so in my mind, I don't think that there needs to be one or the other. I don't think that there needs to be, and this is the competitive nature of human beings in general. Everyone wants to root for the underdog. Everyone wants to feel like there's a champion story waiting to happen. So people are looking at the failure of Battlefield 2042, and they were happy to crap on that, right? They were happy to crap on 2042 and be like, oh, this is not it. Now that they're getting a game that looks like it is what they want, they're willing to champion it, and kind of hold it up on this pedestal as like the greatest game, in that it'll trump Battle or Call of Duty Black Ops 7. And I don't see, in my mind, a reason to pick one or the other outside of cost. I don't. If you like first-person shooters, if you like militaristic shooters, I think that there are merits to both games from different reasons, and that you should feel free to not be forced to pick one or the other. I feel like there's a place where you could enjoy both, especially if you enjoy Battlefield, go play Battlefield, go be the cog in the wheel. I think Hell Let Loose is another great game like that. If that's what you're looking for, that's something that's out right now you could play, but nobody's talking about the underdog story of Hell Let Loose and how that game works.
You're dead on. To me, the only prohibitive element is cost. I do not subscribe to the you have to like this, thus hate that. That's not a thing to me. And I think truly a lot of us have grown out of that. If anything, going back to Bacon's comment way earlier in the show, exclusivity is kind of dumb. Like, we're kind of done with that kind of thing, right? Like the whole Marvel versus DC, the Xbox versus PlayStation, all the stuff that I used to be like, care what people like. I don't. Now that I can play with anybody, I don't care what system you play on, right? I just want to play with the IP that I enjoy wherever it is. So yeah, play both. If you have the finances for both, play both. I don't, right? Like, I don't. That's why I'm enjoying what I can enjoy, and goodness knows our backlogs deserve some attention, right?
Dude, I bought Star Wars Outlaws recently, like relatively recently, and at a really good deal. I still have not touched that game. I have still not been able to justify going, because live services are sucking me in, because I want to play with other people. I want to have conversations when I'm done with work that don't involve what processes DMVs have to be able to ensure that customers are getting duplicate titles. Like, that's like, I want to be able to have like gaming conversations with people and have experiences with people. and it is
For the
so
record,
hard.
you just talked about your job. You just brought that reference out of nowhere.
Oh, I know.
Okay, all right. Any
But yeah,
listener is like, what?
yeah, no, I work for a title manufacturer or a title procurer for lenders. So if anyone's curious what kind of work I do, I work with DMVs and stuff like that. But it's one of those things where I I look at like what games are doing right now, and speaking to, I think one of your points is that there is only so much that we can really throw around as far as money goes for some people. Now, not everyone's going to be this way. Not everyone's going to have this problem. This just happens to be a us problem at the moment because of life and choices that are going on with the world. But for all intents and purposes, it's one of those things where I look at this and I think Clutch Kwando made a really good point in chat and saying that the value proposition for Call of Duty being in Game Pass for any Xbox players that are currently subscribed to Game Pass as like their service, especially if you want to play online and if you want to have cloud saves, you're already getting access to that game. So Battlefield 7 is genuinely a
Battlefield 6.
is this, oh sorry, I was thinking
Battlefield 6, Black Ops 7.
Black Ops 7, sorry. Um Battlefield is genuinely like an easier ask because you're probably going to get access to Call of Duty through Game Pass, which as an Xbox player speaks, greatly to, you wanting to have multiple experiences. So that's why I'm excited for the campaign, is because chances are I'm probably not going to have to buy the campaign. I'm already going to be getting access to it through Game Pass, and I'll just install it on whatever hardware I have that has access to Game Pass. And that way, if I want to get Battlefield, I can just get Battlefield and know that Call of Duty is already taken care of with my subscription.
Yeah, that's a very good point and well said, well thought out. Let's see here. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle DLC was shown, and we're going to see that on September 4th.
You didn't get into India yet, have you?
No. It just didn't. I know, but it's one of those, again, gaming gap. It's kind of like Mass Effect. I know it's great. I appreciate all of you that love it. It just didn't speak to me, and I hate letting down people that wanted me to love it. That's
me and Hellblade, Alan Wake, BioShock, like the franchises I would love to spend time diving in if I was a hermit and didn't talk to people. I'm too social, unfortunately.
I get it. No, I get it. Lately I've been I'm back in Dead by Daylight, just loving that again. And
notice that.
Yeah, I'm just having a blast, man. I love
it's
that game.
It's spoopy time, man. I don't blame you.
The game for all its problems, it's 10 plus years old at this point. Like, for any problems it has, strong community, a lot of really good horror IP in there, and I'm just enjoying it. So Ninja Gaiden 4 had a story trailer. That game, of course, coming out on October 21st. Ninja Gaiden really having a wonderful resurgence, you got to say, with Ragebound coming out, and that game's so good. Ninja Gaiden 2 Black earlier this year. It's nice to see Ninja Gaiden 4 shaping up so well. It really good year to be a Ninja Gaiden fan, but also it's just nice to see the quality that these games are bringing. So that's awesome.
Yeah, watching the action in that game, I kept looking at that and thinking like they know what they want to do, and they're doing a good job with it.
Yep. That, of course, a first party title for Xbox. We're also seeing Outer Worlds 2 coming in. They did come out and confirm that you won't be having romances with any other characters. Having played Avowed, it's a bummer, but I also like they made that work. But there were times in Avowed where it's like they could have, but also I can imagine that's just extra stuff. I'm not playing those games for the romantic element. I know a lot of people really love it. That's not why I play games, but with your celibate characters, there are some pretty cool things Outer Worlds 2 is doing, which is dope.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of curious about this because them speaking, like them making the joke about, you can't sleep with your companions. Like I'm fine with that. It's funny to me that's like Obsidian's desire. Like they just they're not going to bring that in, and it might be a rating thing too. You never know. I know Cyberpunk went mature and probably cut off sales because of the mature rating, because they had stuff like that in that game. But I think even that game, it was pretty tame. But with Obsidian coming out with the companions were a boon and a burden in the first one, and I like the lineup that they have. for Outer Worlds 2, I think they've got a really, really good list of like different characters. Because generally in Outer Worlds 1, I went pretty heavy into melee. So having like a field medic as a companion that is like a dedicated healer for me would actually be really awesome, as opposed to wanting to be a long range sniper and light machine gunnist, and having like a bloodthirsty cultist as like your tank kind of out there and stuff. So I like the way that they've done it. The characters that they bring in are always funny. They've always done a really good job with the writing and the acting in these. I just hope that the AI that they've designed for this is leaps and bounds better than what they had in the first game, because I think that was one of those things where Avowed showed what good AI can do, because it felt very proactive depending on the companion that you picked, and contextually aware of what was going on for the most case. So I'm hoping that they've learned a lot of lessons from the first game and made the companions a lot smarter in combat more than anything. But I like the lineup that they've got going.
Yeah. Well, Xbox definitely positioned Outer Worlds to in a bad spot with that price increase, price decrease approach, which is just a bummer. But you got to say, man, Obsidian 2 for 2 on content release this year with Avowed and Grounded 2. Avowed is one of my games of the year. I absolutely love that game. Flawed in some places, sure.
Yeah.
But I really loved Avowed. And I hope more people check it out. But it's funny. We mentioned Call of Duty, Indiana Jones, Ninja Gaiden 4, Outer Worlds, Keeper also coming. That's first party.
Are you interested in that? Because I'm
not at all.
I have no qualms about missing Keeper, but it looks cute.
I don't even. Double Fine speaks to a Tim Burton style fan, which is not me, right? Apart from his Batman, I'm not a Tim Burton-esque type person. But there is a
Beetlejuice, really?
Nothing. But there is an audience for that, and Keeper will talk to that audience. And so again, another first party release, and then it's in the smaller scale, pardon me, South of Midnight. Avowed, it's on the smaller side. But then also World of Warcraft getting content, like the first party stuff for Xbox this year. We didn't even mention Doom: The Dark Ages, which just got content recently as well. Like, a lot of big stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've been heavy back into WoW with Midnight's announcement and player housing coming out. It's something that a lot of fans have honestly been wanting for far too long, and they're finally getting around to doing it. This will be a really big, interesting testament to like where WoW is after 20 some years. It's going to be the second part in a 3-part series for expansions next year. And they're touching content that's like 20 years old at this point, which is wild. They're going back and revamping old zones that were part of Burning Crusade when they first came out. And I'm like, that's wild that they're going that far. Right now, WoW's in a good place with fans. Like, fans are pretty happy with it. The race to world first for their latest raid, I think, is still going on the Mythic side of things. So like, there are still people still trying to do the hardest content in the game weeks after launch. And it's wild to see that they're still trying to push that stuff. Obviously it'll get nerfed down the line, but WoW's in a good place. And it's one of those things that not a lot of people are aware of that, unless you're kind of ingrained in it. It's kind of like when you talk to people and you're like, PUBG's not even really like that
PUBG,
popular.
Destiny, Dead by Daylight, all those. They have their community. They exist over there, and they're happy.
Yep, it's kind of like the grounded community. Like, there's a very thirsty grounded community out there for different bugs and buggies and stuff like that. Like, we just found out about like Axel being the first park boss, ladybug mounts coming that tease acorn turrets on them as if they're some sort of tank. Like, there's always these little communities that are tied to some of these franchises that nobody really talks about. And like Nissa and Chat is always championing on the cozy titles. We saw
Winterboro and
Winterboro, Wildekin is one that got announced as well too, from the Stardew Valley company, so they're making a new one that looks like leaps and bounds better than what Stardew looks like. So I'm curious to see like how that's gonna play for them, because I know Stardew Valley is like a staple on Switch. Like if you own a Switch and you do not own Stardew Valley, you're kind of you get a little side eye from people.
Yeah. Quick shout out to the nerd chat. It's probably Jose running that account there. Good to see you, buddy.
Hey, nice.
No, you're absolutely right. I did look further, like outside of first party stuff for me though at Gamescom. I kind of like John Carpenter's Toxic Commando. That looked cool. It was nice to see more dead.
The movie, dude. Toxic Avengers with oh gosh, what's his name? The little person in Game of Thrones.
Peter Dinklage?
Peter Dinklage, yes, playing the Toxic Avenger.
Are they
in the new movie?
Is that the same universe?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, cool. I thought the trailer for that one looked really good. Seeing Onimusha again, we got to see it at SGF. Seeing that again looked really good. And then I thought personally, I was very excited for Lords of the Fallen 2. I really like Lords of the Fallen, both the original and the same name new game reboot ish that they did.
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed Lords of the Fallen, and so that it was nice to see that as well. But those stuck out to me in what was otherwise a fairly quiet. It was not a big opening night. Like Gamescom didn't break the mold, and I honestly do think for all the good stuff we saw, there's too many showcases a year. So I'm excited for Silent Hill F, I should say, just because I like horror games. So
that did look pretty impressive.
Yeah. Chronos. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, you're good.
I'm sorry. Clutch Quando said, how are we feeling about Chronos? That game looks really good. Again, I like horror games. It's just time and money, but that game looks good. It
looks like a really good take on the Dead Space genre. So totally think that's awesome. I'll be curious to see how Chronos does in comparison to, God, names are terrible for me today. The game that came out from the original creator of Dead Space, who split off into his own studio, created the game
Callisto Protocol.
Callisto Protocol, yeah. Very curious to see how Chronos does in comparison to Callisto, because there was wildly different expectations for what Callisto wanted to have compared to what it actually did. And I think Chronos being something that looks like it's going to show more than tell, I think may engender some sense of like authenticity to it compared to Callisto.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I cut you off, and I'm sorry about that.
No, I was just talking about how I think that a lot of what we saw with Gamescoms are updates to stuff that we've already seen, or there's been some announcements in the past that have kind of talked about what this is. I think for all intents and purposes, Gamescom this year really was more to bring updates to stuff that we've already known about and to give people at Gamescom hands-on with it, because Gamescom, at least from like the Xbox perspective, was more about the deep dives into those IPs than it was like, here's the world premiere, kind of thing. Like we actually had devs at the table sitting down talking about why this game is going to be worth jumping into, as opposed to a 2-hour non-stops trailer kind of thing.
Yep, it's a good point. Any other games you want to mention from Gamescom that we haven't yet, Bud, before we wrap up?
That was pretty much it. I know that there's going to be ones that people in chat are happy to jump into. I'm definitely curious about Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. The Fallout Season 2 trailer was fantastic. Dude, I can't wait to actually like watch that show. I absolutely love Fallout series. It's the show we deserve that Halo didn't bring in. And it makes me want to go and slap the person who decided that Halo was going to be done the way it was.
Such a
it's amazing when like Fallout doesn't even really like it doesn't even follow the story of like a specific story in Fallout. But you
don't have to. It's so much fan service. It's so good.
Yeah. It's like they understood the assignment, and it's like you look at Halo, and I'm like, you guys had the look. You didn't do the thing that you could have done, which was the easy thing, which is just do the first game.
Yeah.
And just like build out characters around it without necessarily having to go so weird.
Quick shout out to Abdel 114 for saying,
Hey.
can't wait for Returnal on Xbox. Rip my backlog. He's been a member for 4 months. Thank you for being a member. It really helps. We so appreciate you. And then Nissa Hauer, of course, a member for 15 months. Incredible. Says Xbox broadcasts were awesome. They gave me games. Can't argue that.
Yep.
Logan, let's read our patrons real quick before we wind out here, because I want to make sure we love on them too, because they've been super helpful at keeping us afloat in these past few weeks. And this upcoming fall, we need them. So we appreciate you guys. All right. Would you like to read them this week?
Sure. As always, thank you. Head over to patreon.com/Xbox expansion pass if you'd like to show your love and support for the content that we put out. And as such, all of our tier 2 and tier 3 shout outs happen every episode as much as we can to show them that we do care. We do appreciate their support. It does help pay for the bills. It does help deal with the costs of things. And if we are looking to do something in the future where we have time to be able to like review a game, but we don't get a code, the Patreon funds help kind of support getting the access to that to be able to do a review, even if it's not something that'll be at like the review embargo. So as always, we like to kind of shout out the tier 2 and tier 3 shout outs. So thank you to Matto 1606, Clutch Kwando, Omen, Jesse Press, Fado, Aaron G, Nick Bentley, The Scarecrow, Ken Rosling, Fabian Winkler, Regis Stella the Brony Pirate, Rob Frawley II, Tao Zochi, Nicholas Johnson, Randall Thor 19, African, Game Positive, Jampack Sam, Red Beast, Dano 12, DJ Heroes, Brendan Myers, aka The Winter Gamer, the Lord Sir Master James Suddy, and Sony's VP of Marketing, Kevin Butler. Thank you all so much for your love, for your support. Thanks to everyone who's hanging out with us in chat. The likes and subscribes, the comments on the videos, those all do wonders to help kind of get the promotion and access to the content for folks that might be just randomly clicking on stuff or searching Xbox. Anytime engagement happens on YouTube or on social media, things like that, it's always going to be best said through word of mouth. So thank you to all of those who've always kind of like recommended the show or shouted us out on other shows as well too. It's always appreciated.
Yep. Big time. Couldn't have said it better. So thank you guys. Well, Logan, I know I'll be playing some Dead by Daylight this week. I've been playing Gears of War Reloaded for coverage. I'm about done with that. And I'm looking forward to Helldivers coming out. Anything you're able to play this week, or is it travel time?
I really don't have a whole lot to play. I haven't been able to really jump into Sea of Thieves. I've been jumping into World of Warcraft between the hours of like 11 and 2 a.m. To try and feel like I'm still doing something that like is fun. Otherwise, I've been packing, coordinate, logistics are wild. So I'm looking to be on the other end of this move. Because once I am, I'll be in a new space and I'll be able to start decorating again and putting stuff up on walls and having the office that I used to have. If anyone used to remember what my office used to look like, over a year ago at this point, I'll be able to get back to that. And that's exciting for me because there's nothing like not being able to have your own kind of like bat cave or whatever Superman had that was like made of crystals and sugar, whatever stuff.
The Fortress of Solitude, man.
It sounds terrible. Bat cave is the way to go. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back to that because much like Luke, I have a bunch of fun stuff that I like to show off that I've purchased over the years, and getting into a new place is always going to be exciting because I get to kind of furnish it the way I want and have everything look as awesome as I was hoping it would be in my mind, and usually doesn't always come out that way, but that's kind of what's going on for me. So thank you to everyone for being patient as we're kind of light on reviews and stuff lately.
Yeah. We want to thank everybody that's been in chat supporting. We just appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, that's going to do it for us. Follow Captain Logan on his socials. Follow me on mine. You guys can check the channel description for those. Have a fantastic rest of your week, everyone. Take care.
Bye.